Joshua Tiemann says, are video games a net positive or a net negative effect on kids today? Also, would 10-year-old Bill be jealous of the entertainment today's 10-year-olds have access to? 10-year-old Bill would be extremely jealous of that entertainment, and 10-year-old Bill would be so jealous of it that he'd do nothing but play it, and there wouldn't be a grown-up Bill. I am very, very lucky that I came in when I did, because by the time I was playing video games, but certainly by the time I was playing first-person shooters, I played Wolfenstein when I was 30, maybe. So I was a fully grown adult by the time I was playing first-person shooters, and all of this stuff, including Kingpin, which, like I said, was just a horribly vicious game, didn't have a negative effect on me. It just, I was fully formed. I think video games today are a net negative for people for two reasons. First of all, they spend too much time on them. Secondly, some of the things that happen in video games I don't think are appropriate for 10-year-olds. And I think that constant exposure to them does make people overly violent. I certainly know one kid who's got a lot of time spent on Minecraft, which is not a particularly violent game, mind you, but just way too much time on Minecraft. I think like everything, it's all balance, and I don't think young kids today are getting enough balance. I mean, I got a chance to play video games and play as many video games as I wanted to, but I also rode a bicycle and hung out with real friends in the real world till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, walk around neighborhoods, riding bikes and playing baseball and body surfing and getting out in the world. I saw a report just a couple days ago that said that modern kids, and I'm not even talking about millennials, I'm talking about children today that are 3 or 4 years old. Saw a report in, might have been The Telegraph, it was a British paper, basically saying that young children today don't have the motor skills to stack blocks. They can't stack blocks. They just don't have the motor skills. They have the motor skills to swipe a tablet and push and pinch a tablet, but they don't have the motor skills to stack blocks. Now, if the psychological aspects of it didn't scare you, that ought to. So, like everything else, I think they're fun in moderation. I do think they dramatically cut down on your use of your imagination. We used to, I played hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of Flight Sim 1, which was just green lines and a green jagged line for a mountain range, and I filled in the rest of it. And that was only after having played, with little model airplanes and flown them around the neighborhood for days and days and days. So I'm a little worried about that too. Ross K. Wolf says, what's your favorite underrated, possibly forgotten game? It's so underrated and possibly forgotten, I'm not sure I can remember the name of it, but it was so much fun. I'm going to tell you what it was, and somebody hopefully in the comment section will tell me what the name of the game was. It was for the, I want to say Commodore. It wasn't the Commodore 64. What did I have? It wasn't the Amiga. It was a 1 megabyte. There was a 520 and a 1040. Anyway, it just sprung into my head. It was a side-scrolling game with a vampire, and your job was to suck people's blood and gain strength, and occasionally could turn into a bat and fly over water and stuff. And it was just the silliest little thing, but it was the greatest fun in the world. And I think they had Bauhaus. Bela Lugosi's "Dead" was the theme song from this, I think. It was really just a cool little game, really crappy video graphics. It was just fun. It was just fun playing a vampire. And I don't even remember the name of that game, but that was a blast. Elite, as I mentioned, was terrific. Let me think. There were, back in the day, there were so many different games. You literally could buy just scores and scores and scores of different games at any given time. It was the Atari. It wasn't the Commodore. It was the Atari. It wasn't the Amiga. It's the Atari 1040. Anyway, it was that weird little side-scrolling vampire game, and it was just a blast. I think of all the things I played that, that kind of come back to me afterwards. I think that's the one I probably enjoyed the most that no one's ever heard of. Somebody said, you've talked about negative effects of video games in that they deprive kids from using their imagination, among other things. What do you think of some of the positive effect of games? I think games, first-person shooters, as we talked about, first of all, you can learn economics from these games. You can learn about heroism from these games, and I think really the main thing that I like most about games like Medal of Honor or some of the World War II versions, Battlefield, is that I think it gives kids an appreciation for what the real soldiers actually go through. There have been times out in video games when I've been under fire where I'm like feeling, holy crap. Holy crap. And I like the fact that on some level it immerses, 15-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 17-year-olds, whatever, 20-year-olds, immerses them in some kind of sense of what actually goes on out there. The kind of, the turmoil and just the confusion. Of course, it's never loud enough. I don't think it was called Vampire's Empire. Somebody just put there in the comment section. But on some level, I don't know. I think that would help. That's why I think the kids ought to, every now and then, should be really encouraged to play games without respawn. Because I'll tell you something, when there's no respawn, you play that game very, 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 very differently. And I think of all the things that disappointed me in first-person shooters, especially online first-person shooters, is how unrealistic they are with regard to tactics. Because with respawn, you just do things. You just make a run for it, or you jump over here. If you get killed, you get killed. Big deal. But I don't think I've ever once played a game with a team that was so on the ball that they were actually using actual tactics and moving forward in a way that felt realistic to me. I don't ever now look, I'm very, very inexperienced with clan play, so this probably goes on all the time for all I know. But I'd like to get involved with something where somebody's saying, okay, you two guys covering fire, you guys, you guys around to the right, take cover behind the building, Night Hunter. That's it. Thank you, Jason. That was the vampire game. So I've always been disappointed by the fact that on some level people don't take it seriously because it's not really serious. I had that same experience playing paintball, by the way. When we used to play paintball, we took paintball seriously as a combat sim. So we'd wear camouflage and we'd ambush people and we'd do flanking maneuvers and we'd lay down suppressing fire and all that stuff. And then as I watched paintball over the years, now everybody's in Dayglow Orange, and paintball's just a movement game. And look, it's great. Congratulations. I just wasn't that fast. So I don't know. That's just probably, I guess, a pet peeve about mine.